discussion also.
Okay, wonderful. We have time for one more question. Maybe just something to have the audience get to know you a little bit. What has been the most rewarding part of your career?
Well, I have to tell you, being Attorney General is pretty good. It is pretty good. But I have to say, I think if you talk to most people, they'll probably, and with that question, they'll probably look back on a point that at the time, or a situation they were in at the time that they didn't realize was so impactful, but looking back was, and it was the work that I was able to do when I was in private practice at a firm that I know you know well.
Yes.
And I spent a significant amount of time over several years doing pro bono work at the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. And I taught a trial advocacy clinic there with a group of other lawyers for several years, from 2001 through 2007. And then in the summer of 2005, the tribunal needed assistance with a witness tampering investigation. And they asked me to come in and do a special investigation for them. And so I spent most of the summer of 2005, which was 10 years ago, in Rwanda interviewing genocide survivors. In order to deal with the witness tampering investigation, I had to go back and reinvestigate the original massacre that was the topic of some testimony that possibly had been tainted. And it was a tremendous experience. I spent a lot of time delving into the history of frankly, one of the most horrific acts that I think civilization has seen, when one group tried to wipe another from the face of the earth. And it was rewarding as a prosecutor, was moving as a person, and in many ways it shook me, but it made me think a lot about the basis for why we have this situation in so many instances, in so many ways, of man's inhumanity to man. You know, whether it's tribalism, whether it's racism, whether it's xenophobia, you know, whether it's the anti-Muslim backlash and violence that we're talking about. You know, we spend so much time and energy finding ways to divide ourselves from each other, and then thinking, aha, now that I've found the difference, I can act on it. And it's really been an eye-opening experience to me to see this. You know, I don't know the reason why. I do not pretend to understand the human condition enough to know why we fall victim to this time and time again. You know, I don't know that. But I did see, as a result of the tribunal, and I've been able to see, frankly, as Attorney General, is what happens when people of goodwill, and in many instances good faiths, plural, come together and decide to stop it. And when we descend into the heart of that darkness, be it a genocide, be it racism, be it what we're talking about tonight, you know, we pull together and we come together. And for me, you know, I turn to the law for that. Other people turn to other types of organization, but we find a way to say, this is not who we are, and we find a way to try and give justice to victims of that kind of hatred. And so it made me tremendously sad to talk to the survivors and hear their stories, but it also made me tremendously proud of the fact that they trusted me with their stories, and that I was part of a system that had as its goal and at its heart justice for them. And I've kept that with me ever since then, actually. I was fortunate enough to be back in Rwanda a few weeks ago and to revisit some of the locations. And I think about that when I'm sitting in the Attorney General's office. You know, I think someone asked me, how am I doing? It's been a bad day or a difficult day. It's like, I'm alive, no one's chasing me with a machete.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good. But what I think about is that throughout this world, and even more and more throughout this country, there are people who can't say that.
Yeah.
You know, they can't say that. And I have the ability to do something about that. I have the ability, and I have the team, and I have dedicated people who work all day and well into the night to stop that and to do something about that and to find justice for people. And so what I've realized is I cannot guarantee the absence of discrimination or hatred or presence or prejudice, but I can guarantee the presence of justice. So that's why that was rewarding to me.
I can't think of a better word to end on.